Okay, can y'all, everybody stand up?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Is everybody cameras, audio? Everybody good? My name is Tyler Bailey. Um, I'm here on unfortunate circumstances representing the family of Daryl Martinez Lowry, who was 13 years old, and this family should have been just getting ready for his 8th grade school year. Instead, they tragically had to bury their son yesterday. You're surrounded by Daryl's family, his mother, Terry to my right, Sherry McNeil with my office as a consultant. But we're here to just announce what we're doing at this point, why there's a need for an independent investigation that we are leading, and then we'll take some questions. I'll ask that y'all direct the questions to me, and I'll do my best to answer them. If we can't answer them, I would just simply ask for respect at this time because of that. But Daryl was a bright young man. His family loves him. And our questions are mainly concerning how DSS made their decision to place him in the custody, in temporary custody of the foster family he was with, the councilman in McCormick County. There appears to be some red flags that we're looking into. He went there on the 16th, and he tragically lost his life by the 20th. That's inexcusable. When the state takes custody of a child, their first priority is to make sure that child is safe, and they have a duty to keep that child safe. Keeping them alive goes without saying. You have a lot of agencies that are investigating this. SLED is investigating it due to McCormick County being conflicted off of investigating the case. They never announced the reason why they were conflicted out, but my assumption is that because the death occurred at a council member's house, that they had to recuse themselves from investigating it, and therefore SLED stepped up. The Attorney General's office is prosecuting this case, and there's been a few hearings on it. Our investigation is independent of what SLED and the Attorney General's office is doing. We support that. We do want there to be criminal accountability, and we believe that everybody should be held accountable. And families should feel safe if their child is in DSS custody. This family didn't receive that benefit. And we're going to get those answers. We're going to get every answer. We're going to figure out why the certain placement was done, and how this was happened so quickly. I know from what I've seen so far that the children were left unsupervised at the time this happened. This is at a foster home where you know that there may be children who are going through certain things. It seems like common sense for there to be supervision. At nighttime, there's no reason why children should have been left unsupervised. No reason by a lake unsupervised. This family is going through immense pain that none of us wish to ever experience. So I ask that all viewers and all reporters and media keep this family in your thoughts and prayers. At this point, we're focused on getting the answers that they deserve, and we will take whatever steps that are appropriate after we get those answers. We're not assuming things. There are a lot of gaps in information that we've been provided with, but we're going to get those answers. DSS does have confidentiality laws that are meant to protect children, but all information should be sent to this family so we can review it and take whatever steps that we need to take. And more importantly, so no other child or family has to go through this. So there's some answers. McCormick County is investigating this for temporarily until they were conflicted out. We hope that everybody preserves all their records that they have and provide them to my office. Chris Hart is another attorney who's working with his family as well. He knows that we're here present today. And so I'll take some questions if we can answer them. But no, this is still early on. I felt it was really important for us to let people know what we're doing and why we're doing it at this point.
Tyler, this is Tina Terry, WSOC TV in Charlotte. I have a couple quick questions. You talked about this happening at nighttime. Do you have an exact time that this took place? And can you confirm that the other two suspects that have been detained, are they also foster children of the same home?
So I can't confirm the exact time that it happened at night at this point. And I can't confirm their status that they were. DSS has not provided that information to us, but I do know that they were placed there at the home, and they don't appear to be related by blood to the councilman.
So they were living at the home?
I believe they were living at the home. Yes, I believe they were temporarily living at the home. I'm not sure how long they were there. But like I said, DSS protects a lot of confidentiality of minors. The only reason people know Mr. Moore's information because of his age. He's 17 and not 16. But we look forward to getting that information, but I don't have it currently.
Liz Ellis, News 12 Augusta. What have you requested from DSS? What have you gotten back? What kind of response?
So we've requested all records regarding the placement of Daryl. Also looking into a history of prior incidents that may have been provide some notice to DSS and his family. Also regarding the other individuals who were placed there as well. We sent those requests not only to DSS, but reaching out to the McCormick County Sheriff's Department regarding any calls for services that have been there. I had parents reach out to me that their children were there and they've run away in the past as well. So I know there have been calls for services likely there, and there's other information that should have went to DSS. So all information regarding why Daryl's placed specifically at this location. Home is Chester, McCormick is a little bit away from here. And so there's likely some other foster homes that would have been in between here and there, and we want to know why specifically was Daryl placed at Mr. Hamby's office.
Have you received a response from DSS?
Not yet.
Why, do you know if there was any family members that could have taken them in?
Well, the family members have always been present for Daryl, and the focus on this really needs to be on why DSS placed Daryl where they placed him. The family members have been willing to step up. They all have been involved in his life, and so there were individuals ready and able for Daryl to be placed with, but DSS made the decision with that.
Are there any
Why his name has been removed in the first place? Is that something you're investigating?
No. Our investigation is this. The issue is when DSS has custody of a child, that their duty and obligation is to keep that child safe. Oftentimes in these situations, everybody wants to turn the mirror on children or others who weren't responsible. So I would encourage the media to focus on how this happened, why it happened, what safeguards should have existed so this should not have transpired. So the focus needs to be on DSS and their placement in this individual for foster care and custody and why this happened. So we're not going to speak on why the minor child was placed somewhere else. His family members here, they've been involved in his life his entire time, and they were willing and able to step up for him.
I think the reason people are asking that question is because sometimes children are removed from the home unfairly. And so we're trying to understand if there was any unclarity in why that happened, and if you are looking into that.
At this time, we're focused on DSS and its placement in temporary custody.
When did the state take custody of him?
I believe on July 16th. So you're looking at July 16th, he was dead by July 20th.
Are there any concerns that the suspect's actions towards Daryl were racially motivated?
Can't speak on that right now. I don't have anything that says that. I think the optics are the optics, but I have nothing has been provided to me saying that this is a racially motivated killing.
Has your investigation revealed any prior complaints into Mr. Hamby, the foster parent?
Parents have reached out to me about some complaints that they have had with their children at Mr. Hamby's residence. I'm not sure at this point if those complaints with the DSS or not. We have reached out to DSS to get information regarding prior complaints. We have not received those as of today.
Can you talk about, when I was WIS, the timeline of your independent investigation and just the framework?
So by July 16th, Daryl was placed in temporary custody with DSS. On July 20th, the family was notified of the loss of his life. A lot of information was missing regarding, who, where, why, who did it. The Attorney General's office reached out regarding hearings concerning the detention hearings for the minors, but nothing else was provided specifically. Nothing was provided specifically from DSS regarding their information about why he was placed there specifically. And so my investigation took place to get those answers outside of what the Attorney General's office has done. So we looked at what last Friday was the 20th. We're a week later, so it's been 7 days. We had to send that information to all the agencies, and some have provided some information, but DSS has not provided anything at this time.
Do you know how long the suspect teams were at the home?
I don't know how long they were there. No.
Can you just go down the list of specifically what you're asking for? Obviously, you reached out to DSS. What other agencies, I guess, have you reached out to, and what specifically are you asking for from them?
McCormick County Sheriff's Department, who also runs the EMS service, Department of Social Services, Chester County Department of Social Services, along with the state, SLED, the Attorney General's office, Army Corps of Engineers, who runs the lake.
Who's provided responses and documents?
I've received some initial letters saying that they received our request, and they're providing it, they're processing it.
But you haven't actually gotten anything?
No, I've received some information that is related to some other individuals, but nothing from DSS related to this incident. And I think I do think DSS needs to provide that information sooner or later. The Attorney General's prosecution and SLED's investigation is regarding criminal culpability. We are looking into some other civil reasons as to why this happened and what could have prevented it from happening, and that's the information that we need.
Have you ever been successful in getting those kind of records from DSS?
I have. And so I anticipate getting them within 7 days, sometimes a little bit unprecedented. I have received them shorter than 7 days before. I think the nature of this has required DSS to have their own internal checks and balances before that they provide that information. But my assumption is I should at least get some redacted information in the next, hopefully, 14 days or so.
Tyler, are you considering filing civil litigation, and if so, what's the timeline for that?
At this point, it's too early to say. Right now, it's just getting the answers to this information. But I will say this: I think this family deserves full accountability, criminal accountability for the individuals who killed Daryl, who should still be here today, along with there should be some civil accountability. And more importantly, I think that if this example of happening in the foster care system is more prevalent than what we know right now, because luckily this family was able to get in contact with lawyers who are leading this investigation. Most people don't have these resources. They may not know what they should do. And the same people can fall through the cracks. So hopefully, I want the state to look at this and prevent this from happening from any other children. That would be a great way to honor Daryl's legacy. But we will pursue, any recourse that brings some semblance of a closure of justice, full justice, civil responsibility and accountability along with criminal responsibility.
Do you have any information?
Real quick. First thing, can you talk about the connection to Chester County real quick? Daryl from here, his family's from here?
He's from here. His family's from here. His mother's from here, who's here. All his loved ones, as you see, you got cousins, you got aunts. They're all from Chester County. Chester County DSS was the entity that initiated proceedings, and then he was relocated in McCormick County.
And then is the family willing to speak somebody from the family just to really memorialize, Daryl? He is the person at the center of this all that lost his life. Can somebody just talk about who he was as a person and how you all are remembering him?
Yeah, let me, they just buried him yesterday, and I do think it's important for somebody who, if able, to speak. And let me ask them, because they are grieving, right? They want answers. All this is so fast, too, because he was here a week and some change ago. He was alive. They should have been looking forward to having his first day of school coming up to 8th grade, and now they're sitting in front of 12 cameras to speak about the loved one after burying him yesterday. If somebody is willing to speak, I'll ask one family member to come up. If not, I know Sherry, she's more than able, willing to speak, who's a cousin. Anybody else want to speak? And just say your name.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Sandrina Sanders. I'm better known as Ziri to my family. I am Daryl's close cousin and godmom. Daryl was a loving, joyful, happy person. He was full of life. He loved life. And whenever anyone saw Daryl, he was always smiling and laughing. You would never know of a sad time or a bad time unless he was really going on. Something was going on that he couldn't take. He should still be here. So, in honor of him, justice for Daryl from the family.
Yes.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I know talking to, on Saturday, one of Daryl's
I'll let you know if you can answer
family
it.
friends, the mother of one of his friends, she was saying that it's unfortunate that
let me answer that question. As I mentioned earlier, we are not going to speak on why Daryl was not placed with any family. His family was willing and able to step up. The focus, as I said earlier, is on the independent investigation regarding why he was placed in McCormick County with the individual he was placed in with, and what safeguards and red flags that they knew about despite that and still placed him there, all the way in McCormick. So we're not going to answer any family questions at this time. And the family asked for privacy before coming up. I extended the WIS reporter to hear personally about Daryl's life, but we're not going to get into a question and answer session regarding family placement, who could have received them, or why didn't somebody. Any other questions?
Do you know where Mr. Hamby was when this whole situation occurred?
He was asleep.
All right, I have two more questions for family member, just talking about, can she spell out her first and last name for me? And then if, I just had one more question after you spell out your name.
Sandrina, Sandrina, Sanders, Sanders, better known as Zuri, Zuri.
And of course, I understand emotions are still very much raw. You just buried him yesterday.
It
Can you
is.
talk about just your overall reaction once you got the news that he had passed away?
It was unreal. It was unbelievable. She couldn't believe it, didn't believe it when it came to her.
What was the last thing that you said to Daryl?
I love you. You always know I love you. Quote, unquote.
And then any last remarks that you wanted to share just about how the community can remember this sweet boy that everybody knew him?
I thank the community for the thoughts and prayers, for the concerns and reaching out. But I would just more for everyone to just respect the privacy of the family, because we're still taking this all in. It's unreal still. It's unbelievable. So.
Anybody else have a question who did not ask a question?
I have a question
Yes.
for you. Well, two things. I met with Mr. Hambry and talked with him. According to him, he was saying it was in the morning, like 6 a.m. or something. Are you hearing otherwise, that it was at night,
I'm here. I've heard otherwise. It was very in the early hours of the morning.
like 6 a.m.?
Well, it could be earlier than that. Yeah.
Is that from an incident report?
That's from some information I received. It's not in the incident report.
You haven't gotten the incident report?
I have not received the incident report. Yeah, but I think the question is going to be asked, when did they actually recover Daryl? All right.
7 a.m. or something?
When they received, and then when did the call go out to the sheriff's department, and how long did it take for law enforcement to respond, and how long were they unsupervised at that lake before there was a call?
The other
Because
thing-
Mr. Hembry was not there, from my understanding. He was not at the lake with the children. He may have been on the property and sleep, and that's based off the information that's been put out there from law enforcement. Same thing that y'all have.
Yeah, so in the beginning, when you opened this up, you said you've already had some red flags. Can you talk about what those red flags, what you meant by that?
Yeah, I've had some family members reach out about issues that they've had there, and my understanding would be that that information should have went to DSS as well, and DSS should have records whether there was any changes that needed to be made at the property, any investigations that they did prior for any allegations of abuse or neglect, and so DSS should have all information regarding any prior contacts that they received from family members or individuals at that house.
Have you, I know you're asking the question, but do you know for a fact if there's, supposedly at least a couple of years ago, he was the only foster care family in the whole county of McCormick. I know there's a big, lack of foster families, but do you know how many foster families are in Chester County?
I don't know, so I'm getting some information on that. Last I looked for McCormick, I thought I saw 3 or so foster families in McCormick. Of course, there is probably difficulty for getting people to commit to being foster families, I would assume, from the state, but their database is not the best with transparency for the public to see what other homes are available. They do have a map now that shows homes that are in certain counties, but I'm not sure how long or that's been in existence or how frequently it's updated.
How frustrating has been, you said you've gotten records from the DSS before, so I assume this isn't your first rodeo. How frustrating is it for, what's their transparency?
Yeah, well, I'll
I
tell you
can
this.
talk on it, but
Here's
yeah.
my frustration. I've been involved in these cases, and when there's a average Joe who commits a crime and harms a child, those reports are released very quickly. This appears to be done a little different. And generally, when there's abuse, there's allegations of abuse and neglect, like a death at a foster family's home, that information is put out pretty quickly. Here, it's not. That's not normal. So I'm not sure if that was part of the reason why SLED had to step in and the McCormick County Sheriff's Department took a step back. But generally, when there's allegations of abuse and neglect and it happens at an individual place, whether it's a daycare or foster home, they will at least have redacted reports pretty quickly available. So I am I'm highly frustrated, right? And that information should be provided. The only thing I can think is just because of the murder cases that are going on, but that is separate and apart from DSS and their responsibility with the oversight and their own duties to investigate allegations of abuse and neglect. And I think it goes without saying, a death occurring at nighttime at a lake with minor children who are arrested for a murder, and the individual was not present supervising them where he could see them, have his eyes on them. I think that goes without saying that there's some allegations of neglect at the bare minimum.
In the past, dealing with DSS, not this current, not counting this case, how would you rate their transparency?
Past, 6 on a good day. Now, depending on the allegations, who it is, you can get stuff pretty quickly. But I think that DSS needs to be more transparent here. Even if they have to redact the information, it should be provided to this family.
Is there any information on what the fight was about?
None at this time. And this was a murder. This was a murder. It wasn't a fight.
They didn't know each other, right?
I think they knew each other from when their contacts with each other at the residence. But I'm not sure. As of this point, I have nothing that shows that they had any significant history with each other.
Do you know anything about DSS's policies as far as, like, do they you got kids coming from everywhere. Do they know, what groups they're involved in or their past history that before they put them mixed with other teams?
I don't have all the information yet, but they should. I know that. That should be known. All right.
Mr. Bailey, I'm sorry, 2 more questions. Do you know who called 911?
I've heard, let me outright answer that question. No, I've heard some audio, but I haven't had anybody from the Sheriff's Department to confirm who those voices are yet.
Gotcha. And last question, we know you're well known in Columbia, but why was it important for you to team up with this family to just spearhead this independent investigation?
I just think that I see stuff too often where you have families who get the short end of the stick because they may not know what to do. And here, I think every family, especially this family, deserves some answers. And a lot of times, especially when you have family who may not have different questions that want to be asked, they may feel like they shouldn't step up to get answers. Like they deserve a less semblance of justice than somebody else would. You get questions that try to question the family, make the family feel like maybe they did something wrong. And the real thing is the culprit is the murderers and also the adults. Where were the adults in the room? And so I think it's really important for families to know that when you feel like your rights have been violated, or you feel like that something's been done to you wrong, but you may not have the confidence to step up, that you need, there are people out there who are advocates who will fight for you to get answers. And that's all they're asking for, answers. And for the focus to really be on the people who should be held accountable. The adults in the room, along with the criminals who are innocent until proven guilty by a jury, right? But the facts say what they are. And I'm hoping that we can get some answers for this family, help bring them some closure, because the hole that's in their hearts is never going to be replaced. But having some answers will go a long way.
Did any family members have any concerns for Daryl's safety at this particular foster home before the incident happened?
I don't think they had enough information to even know if they should be concerned or not. That's part of the problem.
So I mentioned I did have a conversation with Mr. Hambry in person, and he said, because he's no longer wants to do the stuff, he's in his 70s, he said he had already laid low, not because he is getting older, and he said that DSS actually called him like it was an emergency situation, there's nowhere else to place these kids.
Well, I look forward to getting that information from DSS. Thanks, everybody.